10 years ago, flashlight beams bob in the dark as the group creeps through the woods towards Mr. Red's house.
They think we're all asleep in the backyard.
I left the nightlight on in the tent just in case they look out the window.
Nice!
Natasha jogs to catch up with Jane, who walks a few steps in front of the group.
Boy, it sure is spooky out here. Huh, Jane?
Jane scowls, speeding up to get ahead of Natasha.
Natasha, what's wrong with Noah and Jane? They're being all weird and quiet.
Natasha glances over at Noah, who's staring down at the ground as he walks, both hands stuffed into his pockets.
I don't know.
Natasha sidles up to Noah.
Hey, Noah? Is everything okay?
Not really. Something happened to us the other day. It freaked us out pretty bad and, well, Jane's super mad at you.
At me? What did I do? What happened to you guys?
On Wednesday, Jane and I were walking home from school and this creepy old lady started following us. I don't know who she was, but she looked really mean and half her face was all messed up.
Oh man, that's Bridge, the witch.
Who?
She lives in an old shack on the other side of town, out by that broken bridge. My cousin told me her face got melted off by acid.
What? My brother said that she bakes kids into little clay coffins and her face got burned when the oven exploded. What did she want?
I don't know. She came out of nowhere and tried to grab us. Jane and I got separated and she chased after Jane.
Oh my gosh, that must have been so scary.
Natasha turns towards Jane, who's pretending not to listen to the conversation.
Jane, are you okay?
Yeah, no thanks to you.
What do you mean?
I mean, your stupid whistle doesn't work.
What?
You promised. If I ever get scared, I could use the whistle and you'd come save me. But I blew and you never showed up.
Jane, the whistle's not magic. I can't hear you from miles away.
Then why'd you promise you would?
Because I wanted you to feel safe.
Well, I don't need your help and I don't need your stupid whistle.
Before Natasha can stop her, Jane rips the whistle from her neck and hurls it into the woods.
Hey!
Jane, that was mean.
Guys, stop. We're here.
Sheesh, this place is kind of creepy at night.
Only if you're a baby.
Hey! Where's Mr. Red?
I thought he'd be able to come outside at night.
He's probably just being shy. So, can we go in already?
Lucas looks at Natasha and Jane.
Depends. Is everybody done fighting?
Natasha and Jane glance at one another, then stare at their feet.
Fine.
We'll stop.
Then let's go. Mr. Red's waiting.
Natasha and the rest head into the house. Then across the main room to the staircase and down in the dark. in the woods behind her house, Natasha struggles to break free from a furious Mr. Red. Her instincts of danger rise as she pulls herself out with a mighty force. Natasha whirls up the wired bat, up to her side.
You want to play? Fine! Let's see how you like baseball!
Natasha swings the wired bat at his face. The bat passes through Redfield's head, shreds of viscous shadow clinging to the barbed wire. Redfield hurls Natasha away from him, and Natasha's back slams against a tree. Natasha falls to the ground, gasping for breath. Tendrils of black mist creep along the ground as Redfield slowly approaches.
Natasha!
Lucas approaches Natasha and sees Mr. Red in front of them, stumbling back in surprise.
Whoa!
Hilda bounds forward to stand between the two and Mr. Red, hackles raised and teeth bared. Mr. Red recoils from the snarling dog, momentarily reverting to his insubstantial form.
Good dog. Now let's get out of here!
Natasha tries to stand, but is still injured by the impact she received.
Don't worry, I got you.
Lucas crouches down, and Natasha climbs on his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. She's shaking against his back as he stands.
Hold on tight.
Lucas scrambles to his feet while carrying Natasha and runs, Hilda following close on his heels. The woods seem to warp and shift as they run, shadows tangling to Lucas's feet like weeds. And all the while, they feel him getting closer and closer. Up ahead, the trees begin to thin. They can make out Natasha's backyard. Suddenly, Lucas's shoe snags on a root, causing them both to trip.
Ah! Shit! I'm sorry.
Lucas quickly stands up, helping Natasha to her feet, and she leans on him, limping their way out.
It's okay. Just a little further.
They burst out of the trees and into Natasha's backyard, just as the horizon is starting to glow with color.
Almost.
A thin skeletal claw clamps around Natasha's wrist, stopping them short. His grip tightens painfully, her skin starting to bruise and burn at his touch.
Natasha! Lucas! You stay!
No! Let me go! Let me go!
Hilda snarls, trying to bite Mr. Red's legs, but her teeth pass right through him. Mr. Red tries to pull Natasha, but Lucas holds onto her, trying to pull her back, and they both begin to slide along the damp grass, back towards the trees.
Damn it! It's dragging us back in!
Inch by inch, he pulls them closer. But then, sunlight breaks over the treetops, slicing into Mr. Red's hand. He screams, struggling to hold on as his fingers melt into smoke.
What's the matter? Not a fan of sunshine?
Natasha yanks her hand free, and Mr. Red hisses, retreating into the shadows.
Everyone, please.
His body dissolves into a river of black smoke that streams back into the trees. A moment later, he's gone. Trembling, Natasha's vision starts to blur, and she faints to the ground.
Natasha! Natasha, hey, look at me. Don't.
Suddenly, her vision goes black, and the last thing she thinks is,
What did I just do?
2 hours have passed, and Natasha wakes up on her bed. She tries to move, but...
Careful now. You've been badly hurt. You need to rest.
Lucas, he saved me. But how?
Noah messaged me immediately about what was going on, and I went looking for you in the forest.
Noah.
He was gonna come, but his mom caught him sneaking, and he couldn't leave the house.
Did you sneak out yourself?
Pretty much. I'm sure my parents will have a lot of questions to ask later, but that's not important right now. Here, take this glass of water.
But Natasha gently pushes it away, shaking her head.
Lucas, I'm so sorry. I'll never forgive myself for this.
You don't need to apologize. I know you were just trying to put a stop to this, but trying to be the cool person who doesn't want to get anyone else involved wasn't a wise choice.
Yeah, you're right. It's just... Mr. Red has caused so much harm to us and the people around us. I didn't want anyone else to get hurt or die. And that includes you and our friends.
Natasha.
I tried to reason with Mr. Red, and now I've made things worse. Noah tried to warn me and stop me, but I didn't listen to him. I was reckless, and now you're all paying the price for it.
Lucas reaches out for Natasha's hand.
It's not your fault. You did the right thing. It's him who made things worse. We'll figure something out and put a stop to it once and for all.
Lucas, I love you.
I love you too, Natasha.
Natasha leans forward to Lucas. He very gently brings his lips to hers for a kiss.
I can't believe we still have to go to school after all that.
Wait, you're still going to school? You should be resting.
Yeah, nothing good will come by me staying here. And you can't tell me I'll be safe here, because honestly, I would just be more afraid.
Natasha stubbornly stands her ground, and Lucas sighs.
If you say so. I'll go and wait downstairs.
Lucas leaves the room, and Natasha walks over to her closet to get dressed. Luna twines around Natasha's ankles as she dresses, meowing loudly for attention.
Okay, just for a minute.
Natasha scoops up Luna and sits her down on the bed. She rolls onto her back, purring loudly as she scratches her belly.
No one can be sad when there's a kitty tummy. Be good today, alright? Shoelaces don't grow on trees.
Natasha turns to examine herself in the mirror. Taking a deep breath, she nods to herself.
Let's do this.
Grabbing her school bag, Natasha heads downstairs. On her way out, Natasha stops by the shed to check on Daffy. Hilda greets Natasha and Lucas at the door, whining and sniffing at their injured wrists. Natasha stoops down to ruffle her ears.
I'll be okay, girl.
Hilda licks Natasha on her cheek, then scampers past them into the yard.
I can tell you're going to have some serious trouble giving that dog back to your neighbor.
Natasha chuckles and spots Daffy sitting up in the rafters, an old piece of paper clutched in his talons.
Is that a letter?
Yeah, these are some weird letters Daffy has been bringing. They're from the 1870s.
Natasha quickly explains to Lucas about what she's learned so far from the letters.
I see. So there might be information from that letter.
Yeah, if Daffy doesn't pack me, that is. You gonna let me take a look at it? We'll see about that.
Natasha carefully climbs up on the work table and holds out her finger.
Come here, little guy. You know I won't hurt you.
Daffy cocks his head at Natasha and then drops the letter and hops into her hand.
Aww, does this mean we're buddies now?
Natasha signals Lucas and he grabs the letter. She transfers Daffy to his nest and climbs down from the table.
Let's see what he got up to this time.
Dear E.B., if your father disliked me before, he shall loathe me now. I have joined a cult. After my last letter, I took to spying on the conclave in the woods. Last week, I finally managed to track down and befriend one of the scoundrels. I learned they worship a master, who grants supplicants its favor in the form of dark magics, and golems are the least of it. Psychokinesis, the command of wild beasts, the things I have seen would make TheOnlyRAVO blush. And the best news, when I asked if I might share in his master's power, my new friend seemed not only receptive, but positively delightful.
Jeez, that seems like it's gonna end poorly.
Tell me about it.
Natasha pins the letter up on the board. Then the two begin to head for the door. On the long walk to school.
Are you going to be fine?
I mean, what the hell do I say to the others? Hey, just FYI, I tried to fix things, but it went wrong, and now Mr. Red's super mad.
Natasha looks at her phone, when suddenly her phone battery dies.
That's it! If I live through this crap, I'm asking Mom for a new phone, and I'm toasting you in the microwave.
Hey, hold on. It seems we have made it to the street Noah lives. Come on, let's go see him.
Shoving her dead phone into her pocket, the two keep going forward.
Guess we'll just have to warn everyone in person.
A minute later, Natasha is walking up the driveway at Noah's house. As they approach the house, they hear raised voices inside.
What the?
I was just going to see a friend. I don't know why this is such a huge frickin' deal.
At 4 a.m. on a school night. I am not an idiot, Noah. I swear, if I find out you're vandalizing houses again...
That was one time, when I was 12. Maybe if you were ever home, I wouldn't have felt the need to sneak out.
This sounds bad. Maybe we should leave for now.
Right.
They turn, ready to walk away, but an angry shout from inside stops them in their tracks.
You ungrateful! What the hell did I do to deserve losing my sweet little girl instead of... Noah, I didn't mean that. Noah, wait!
The door slams open, and Noah storms out. He looks up, stopping short as he sees Natasha and Lucas.
Natasha? Holy crap, Lucas, you actually found her. For a second there, I thought...
We made it. Somehow.
Anyways, are you okay? Sounds like your mom is pretty mad.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but it's pretty par for the course.
Is there anything we can do to help you?
Noah glances back at the house, a pained look on his face.
With this? Probably not, but it means a lot that you guys want to. Thank you both.
Of course.
The three of them walk down the sidewalk, heading for the main road. As they walk, Natasha and Lucas tell Noah what happened. Natasha's confrontation, showing the burns where Mr. Red grabbed her wrist.
Damn it, I knew something was wrong. I tried to come and help, but Mom caught me sneaking out my window.
Don't worry, Lucas was able to save me thanks to you messaging him. That's more than enough.
We barely made it out, but we managed.
Oh, okay. Guess it's a good thing.
The three walk in silence for a few minutes, listening to the wind ruffle the trees alongside the road.
Listen, Natasha, Mr. Red throwing you around like a rag doll sounds terrifying, but Lucas is right. You did the right thing.
I don't know. My charbroiled wrist begs to differ.
Seriously, every time we all try to talk about stopping Mr. Red, we just end up arguing, and nothing ever gets done. Look what happened yesterday.
It was about time someone took charge and put a stop to that monster's messed up gifts.
You guys are probably right. I'm just worried about one thing.
What's that?
If Mr. Red was a nightmare when he was trying to be nice, what's he going to be like now that he's mad?
Noah and Lucas don't answer, but their faces seem troubled as they continue down the road. After a couple of hours pass, evening comes, and the school gathers to watch their second basketball game of the season. As Natasha heads to the gym, she spots Connor and Stacy off to one side and makes her way over to them.
Fancy meeting you two here?
Yeah, Crazy how we keep running into each other.
Natasha glances at Connor for a second, clearing her throat.
Hey, Stacy, can I talk to you for a second? Something happened with our, mutual friend. Something serious.
Stacy's face falls.
Yeah, of course. But can I maybe wait till after the game, please?
Yeah, sure. Let's enjoy the game.
Stacy perks up again, shaking her pom-poms.
Great! We're taking on the Greenville Nutria tonight. Are you guys hyped?
Best I can do is mildly enthused. That work for you?
Jerk.
Brat.
Stacy punches Connor in the arm, then skips off towards the gym. Connor watches her go, smiling.
It's good to see her smiling. When she found out Mom was going to be at the dance, I thought she was going to freak.
Natasha and Connor start walking towards the gym.
So, stupid question. And feel free to tell me to shut the hell up if you don't want to talk about it. I heard what happened to Cody. Are you alright?
Honestly, I'm surprisingly okay. I know I should be more upset, but I just feel sort of numb. Does that make me a shitty person?
Not at all. Sometimes it takes a while for bad things to hit you, or this just might be how you process bad stuff. Either way, it's nothing to be ashamed of. Everyone reacts differently to this kind of thing.
Thanks, Connor.
Someone bumps Natasha's wrist, making her yelp with pain. Connor looks down, eyes widening as he sees the bruises from where Mr. Red had grabbed her.
Natasha! Who did that to you?
I can't tell you. I'm sorry.
Connor stares at Natasha for a long moment, seeming to struggle with something. Then, he takes a deep breath.
Well, I know something's up. You don't have to tell me what it is. Just tell me how I can help.
Natasha looks down at the ground, cradling her injured wrist.
I just feel so powerless sometimes. A lot of the time, actually.
Well, what do you want to know? That's something I may actually be able to help you with.
Yeah? You have a magic strength potion lying around? Maybe a radioactive spider?
Not exactly, but I do have a few years of experience studying self-defense. I don't know if your problems are the kind of thing you could punch, but learning how to defend myself made me feel stronger. It might help you too. What do you say? We've got a little while before the game starts. I could show you a few moves.
Fine. Just go easy on me, okay?
I was about to say the same thing. Come on, let's go find somewhere less crowded.
Natasha follows Connor out to a mostly empty part of the parking lot.
This seems like as good as a place as any to me.
Okay, where do we start?
If this was a real fight, you'd want to start out by looking for any way you can get out of it. But since it's just us, let's start with your stance. Space your feet about shoulders width, and bend your knees.
Natasha does as he says, bouncing up and down on the balls of her feet a little bit.
Like this?
Pretty much, but turn your hips a bit so you're not straight on. Smaller target to hit.
Natasha angles herself slightly to the left.
Okay, how does that feel?
Pretty good. What's next?
Connor brings his hands up near his chin, and Natasha follows suit.
Keep your hands here, and make sure you don't clench your jaw.
Why?
It makes it less likely you're gonna hurt your jaw.
Yeah, that's a pretty good reason.
Once Natasha gets her stance perfected, Connor assumes the same position across from her.
Okay, looking good. Now, hit me.
Better brace yourself. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty strong.
Great, show me what you got.
Are you sure about this?
Natasha, I promise, I'll be fine. Doesn't have to be a hard punch, just hit me right here.
He points at his left cheek, and then gets back into position.
Okay, if you say so.
Natasha bounces on the balls of her feet a couple of times, then rears back and aims straight for Connor's cheek. He deflects with his left arm, and Natasha's blow is diverted upwards. He strikes with his right hand at her exposed ribs, gently tapping her.
That's great. Stick to short jabs so you can bring your hands back in faster.
Connor resets himself, and so does Natasha, and the two of them continue to spar.
That's it, you're getting the hang of it.
Connor dodges a well-placed blow, and Natasha shimmies out of the way of his counterstrike.
Guess I got a good teacher.
Connor spins out of the way as Natasha throws another punch.
Maybe one day, you'll be as good as me.
I'd rather be as good as that guy.
Natasha points behind Connor, and Connor turns to look. As he does, Natasha winds up and...
Ow!
Natasha lands a light punch square on his jaw.
You were saying?
That doesn't count. You cheated.
Aww, all's fair in war and war. Next time, don't be so easily duped.
Next time, I don't know if I want to make getting hit in the face a regular thing. If there were a next time, you might not be so lucky. Besides, you caught me by surprise.
Never underestimate the element of surprise.
As good as any lesson to end our training on.
That's all there is to it?
Well, no. But I'd say you got a handle on the basics. And I feel better knowing you can clearly handle yourself.
Thanks again for doing this. I feel like I could, I don't know, punch a bear.
I'd avoid any bears in the near future. Now, come on. The game's about to start.
Natasha grins at Connor and follows him back to the gym. As Andy's team prepares for the basketball game, he finds Tom standing by his locker.
Nervous?
Yeah, understatement. I can't believe you talked Coach into making me a starter.
It didn't take much convincing. Considering all your assists from last game, we are unstoppable. Besides, it's the least I can do to repay you for sticking by me all these years. I can't tell you how much it means to me that no matter how hard things get or how much I change, you're always there for me.
Well, duh, you're my best friend. Nothing's gonna change that.
Ooh, you think Ben will be out in the bleachers tonight? I want to see the look on his face when he sees us tearing up the court.
Wait, you didn't hear?
Hear what?
Ben's been in the hospital, dude. At first, they thought it was just a dislocation and some muscle tears, but...
Andy hears their coach calling from outside, and their teammates hustle past as Andy stands frozen, staring at Tom.
But what, Tom? Tell me.
But then a couple of days ago, he passed out in the middle of dinner, and now he won't wake up.
Oh no.
The first quarter passes in a blur, as his mind turns with the thoughts of Ben, Mr. Red, and the epidemic of unresponsive patients.
Ben could die, just like Cody, and it'd be all my fault.
Andy, over here!
Huh?
Andy shakes himself, realizing that he's standing in mid-court as a Greenville defender reaches out to slap the ball from his hands. Pivoting, Andy takes a wild shot, but the ball falls short.
Crap! Thought I had that.
You okay, Andy? You seem kinda out of it.
Yeah. Just the Ben thing kind of spun me. I'll be fine.
The buzzer signals the end of the first quarter, and Andy takes a second to scan the crowd. Near the front, he spots a bunch of friendly faces.
Go, Andy!
Come on, you can do it!
Come on, Kang!
Harry Sports.
Come on, King Kang! You got this!
Yeah, I've got this.
Taking a deep breath, Andy gets into position, and the second quarter begins. The halftime buzzer sounds, and the team jogs towards the benches as the cheer squad starts their dance routine.
Come on, Wolves, let's hear you howl!
Jeez, we're not doing so hot.
Hey, we're only down a few points. Maybe we can turn this around.
Andy looks around at his team, sitting hunched and dejected on the benches.
Not like this, we can't.
Nearby, one of the players fishes in his bag, furtively tucking a lighter and a pack of cigarettes into his pockets. He starts towards the gym's back door.
Hey! Get back here, Drew! Everyone, we've got to talk.
The player sits back down. and the rest of the team turns to look at Andy expectantly.
Listen, guys, we're getting destroyed out there. I'm not pointing fingers, but Greenbell's mopping the floor with us. I don't know about you, but if I have to tell my mom we lost to a team called the Nutria, I might die of embarrassment.
A few chuckles rise from the bench, and their teammates sit up a little straighter.
I know. Ben's the captain of this team. Who the hell am I to tell you what to do? Well, I'm just a guy who knows we can win. So we had a rough first half. So what? I've seen us come back from worse. This team is unstoppable.
Heck yeah!
Andy turns and points at the scoreboard.
See that? We're only 5 points behind. We can still win this thing. So get out there and kick some Greenbell ass. What do you say?
The team jumps to their feet, re-energized. Andy puts his hand in the middle, and everyone else follows their lead.
Go Wolves on 3. 1, 2, 3, go Wolves!
Woohoo, let's get them!
The cheer squad finishes their routine. Whooping and clapping, their team jogs back onto the court.
Good pep talk, dude. I think I cheered up a little.
Thanks.
The second half begins, and their team manages to score a few points, nearly closing the gap.
Just one more basket, and we pull ahead. Come on, Westchester.
One of the players passes to Tom, who dribbles towards the basket. He dodges past a Greenbell defender, lining up his shot.
What? Ugh!
Tom suddenly jerks, dropping the ball.
Tom! What's...
Get her off of me!
Tom swipes frantically at his shoulder, knocking something to the floor. Andy looks down and sees.
Oh! What the hell? Someone's pet tarantula get loose?
Taking advantage of the distraction, a Greenbell player swoops in to grab the ball, but recoils as 2 more spiders drop in front of him. The game comes to a screeching halt as players back away from the center of the court, and shouts ring out from the bleachers.
Look out! There's another one!
Where are they coming from? Guys, look up.
Dread fills Andy's stomach as he slowly looks up to see a dark hole in the ceiling and hundreds of spiders crawling out of it.
Oh, crap!
The gym dissolves into chaos. Spectators and players scramble for the door as spiders drop from the ceiling and crawl down the walls. Ow! Andy whirls around and sees Tom clutching the side of his neck. He sways on his feet, stumbling towards the bleachers.
Oh, Tom!
Tom wobbles, then collapses to the floor. Andy rushes to his side, grabbing him by the shoulder.
Oh, it bit me. I don't feel so good.
Tom, come on! Stay with me!
Tom's head droops. He looks up to see the gym almost empty of people and a sea of scuttling spiders between them and the door.
Damn it! I've got to get Tom out of here! If only there was a way to clear a path!
Andy scans his surroundings. He finds a lighter on the bench, and nearby, he spots a can of hairspray sticking out of a cheerleader's abandoned gym bag.
Oh, hell yeah!
Popping the top off the hairspray, Andy flicks open the lighter and strikes a tiny orange flame.
Let's see how you like this!
Andy aims into the thick of the spiders and sprays a plume of blue-orange flame.
Yeah! Get some!
Unnatural hissing fills the air as the spiders burn. To Andy's left, another one launches itself off the wall, aiming for his face. He swings his flamethrower around, torching the spider in midair. It thumps to the floor, legs twitching as it burns.
Too slow, Spider Bro.
Many of the spiders start to turn, fleeing from his fiery wrath. Soon, only a few remain, advancing on them with fangs bared.
You want some too? Happy to oblige.
Andy shoots a plume of fire at the spider, but it dodges. He fires again, and it dodges again.
Come on!
The spider continues to evade his attacks, always staying just a little ahead of the flames.
Fine. You want to play like that?
Andy fires to the spider's left. It dodges right, looking almost smug.
Then I'm changing the rules.
The spider scuttles forward with unnatural speed, crawling onto Andy's shoe.
Whoa!
Reflexively, he jerks his foot, launching the spider into the air. It lands on its back with a heavy thump, and Andy finishes it off with his flamethrower.
Good move, but not good enough. Come at me, spider!
Hissing, another one rears up on its hind legs, waving the front two menacingly.
Ooh, scary!
Andy hits the spider's exposed belly with a jet of flame, blasting it off its feet.
I'm scarier!
Breathing heavily, he lowers his weapon. All around, spiders retreat outdoors and windows, leaving only charred corpses behind.
That'll teach you not to bite my best friend.
Stooping, Andy slings Tom over his shoulder in a fireman's carry and heads for the door.
It's okay, buddy. I've got you.
Andy carries Tom out of the gym into the cold night air. Outside, Natasha's caught in the middle of a panicked mob trying to escape the gym.
Lucas! Stacy! Anyone!
Natasha shoves her way out of the crowd and hurries over to where Stacy, Connor, and Andy are huddled around an unconscious Tom.
Oh my god.
Looks like he got bit a few times. Lucas is calling an ambulance.
Come on, Tom. Say something. Wake up.
Andy, this is all my fault. I'm so sorry.
No. This has to be Mr. Red's doing. Why would it be your fault?
Because earlier, I told him to stop giving us gifts. I made him angry.
Wait, what? Who the hell is Mr. Red?
The noise from the crowd suddenly rises, and they hear a familiar shout rise above the rest.
Back off! I had nothing to do with this, you freaks!
We have to stop this before someone gets hurt.
Following the shouts, Natasha sees a group of several students surrounding Ava, shoving her out of the crowd.
You idiots are about to see firsthand.
Ava raises her hands.
Ava, stop!
But nothing happens.
Uh-oh.
Emboldened, two of the students grab hold of Ava's arms, dragging her towards the school.
Hey! Let go of her!
Natasha grabs one of them by the arm and she hits the guy with a quick jab to the face. He tries to punch her back, but she easily blocks.
I said, let go of her!
The guy drops Ava to come after Natasha. With one arm freed, Ava is able to slug her other captor in the gut, dropping him instantly.
You ever touch me again, you'd better be ready to lose some teeth.
Shaking, Ava starts running away from the school.
Where's she going?
Ava, wait!
Natasha and Stacy chase after Ava. When Natasha and Stacy catch up with Ava, she's sitting on the side of the road, head resting on her knees.
They're gone. My powers are gone.
Yeah, I saw Ava. I'm really sorry.
You say that like you had something to do with it.
Natasha, what was it you said earlier? About making Mr. Red mad?
I didn't mean to! I just told him he had to stop hurting people for us!
And you didn't think maybe you should warn us about that?
I tried to tell you before the game! You didn't want to hear it!
So let me get this straight.
Ava gets to her feet, glaring at Natasha.
There's a super powerful homicidal shadow monster who knows where we live and everything we do. Cool. So what's your plan for when I get impaled on the tree? Or Stacy, or Lucas, or...
Ava suddenly stops, clapping her hands over her mouth as she stares over Natasha's shoulder in horror. Natasha's heart seems to stop in her chest. Slowly, she turns, and sees Connor standing in the road behind her.
What did you just say?
Connor, this isn't what it sounds like.
Really? Because it sounds like... Natasha, were you involved with Cody's death?
Natasha did not kill Cody, if that's what you're implying.
Then what the hell is going on?
It's complicated. It's just, you wouldn't understand.
Sorry, but that sounds like a cop-out to me. Look, Natasha, I know there was something going on with you guys. I figured it was just personal stuff, not my business. But now I hear you guys talking about some shadow monster who's killing people, and some guy called Mr. Red. If you guys know something about a murder, you can't just hide it. How long were you planning to keep this a secret?
Connor, just let me explain.
Connor holds up his hand to stop Natasha.
Whatever this is, Natasha, I don't want any part of it. And I don't want you dragging my sister into it either. Stacy, let's...
Hey, I didn't get dragged into anything. I'm just as responsible as Natasha.
Stace.
I'm not a baby, Connor. I don't need my big brother to come save me. I can solve my own problems.
Connor takes a step back, looking hurt for a moment. Then he scowls.
Guess I'll get out of your face then.
He turns his back on the girls, walking down the dark road until he vanishes from sight.
Fine! Good riddance!
Natasha sinks to her knees, crying, feeling hopeless and alone.
I just can't do anything right, can I?
Natasha covers her face with her hands, letting the tears drop like a waterfall. And then, she feels two sets of arms wrapping around her.
I'm sorry, Natasha.
Me too, for yelling at you and for not helping when I should have. Noah was right all along. This is only gonna get worse until we find a way to stop it.
But what if we can't? What if you were right and this is just too big for us?
Don't make me say it.
Say what?
Ava sighs, letting go and pulling Natasha and Stacy up to their feet.
I believe in us, Natasha. We're gonna figure this out, and we're gonna make it right. Because friendship, I guess.
Because friendship.
Smiling, they each take one of their arms, and the three of them continue down the road, side by side.